I'd like to call this meeting to order, and good afternoon, and welcome to the February 8th, 2024 regular board meeting of the Sunshine Coast Regional District. And acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Region, I'd like to call the meeting to order at whatever time it is, 1:05, and acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is within the territory of the Sechelt and Squamish First Nations. First order of business is that we have an amended agenda before us. Is there any further additions to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Yes, I see a motion. Director McMahon, seconded by somebody. Huh? Oh, Director Bax, thank you. All those in favor? We have an agenda. The first item of business is number 2, which is the regular board meeting minutes of January 25th, 2024, which is Annex A, pages 3 to 15. Directors, are there any errors or omissions? No. Can I have a motion to accept those minutes? Director Toth, Director Bax, thank you. All in favor? Passes. Then we're on to business arising from the minutes and unfinished business. Directors, is there any business or unfinished business you'd like to address? Seeing none, have a motion? No, I don't need to. I just move on from that. Okay. We're on to presentations and delegations. And the Sunshine Coast Chamber of Commerce is going to give us a presentation regarding introduction to the Sunshine Coast Chamber of Commerce. Would you guys like to come forward? Thank you. I see you here already. You're used to this, I think. You're just all ready to go? Okay. So we try to limit it to 10 minutes, and at the conclusion, the board's will not typically make a decision, but will receive the presentation for information, and we'll ask some questions. So would you please introduce yourself and go for it?
You will have to pull the microphones fairly close to yourself.
Okay. I'll restart. Board Chair, members of the board, thank you very much for hosting us. My name is Gaëtan Royer. I'm the interim chair of the Sunshine Coast Chamber of Commerce. With me is Doug Martinson. He is with the Gibson's Chamber of Commerce, the Legacy Chamber, and a member of a 3-person task force that was charged with merging the 3 chambers. Also on that task force was or is Ron Badley from Pender Harbor. Merging 3 chambers has been talked about for many years. It's been tried a few times. And in our outreach with the business community, what we found is the vast majority of Sunshine Coast business owners wanted one chamber. We looked for a URL. I was doing this at home and got frustrated that somebody had bought a URL, and I thought, oh, it's such an ideal name, and found out that it was purchased in 2018 by the Gibson's Chamber when the discussion was going on about merging at that time. So 6 years later, we're going to have that website finally up and running, and it's a work in progress at this time. We took a very business approach to this merger. We wrote a letter of intent with a very clear purpose. We set key principles. The 3 chambers The boards voted in favor of that letter of intent and contributed to a budget to make sure that it advanced. Each chamber appointed a member to a task force. We deliberately didn't set up a permanent committee. A task force is more action-oriented, and it can be disbanded when its work is done. Doug, who's with me now, Ron, and myself became a very collegial group. We took all decisions by consensus. And we are looking forward to dissolving the three chambers, the three legacy organizations by March 31st. We didn't create a new position to help us. We hired a short-term contract facilitator, and Janice Iverson, who many of you know, has been absolutely fabulous. She's an expert in governance and was very efficient in her support of the task force. We publicized our letter of intent. We publicized all of our actions as it went along. And we assigned a very high priority to communicating. Actually, we over-communicated. We wanted to make sure that we were in frequent contact with the membership, using our newsletter, in-person meetings, phone calls, and opportunities for question and answers and feedback. We did a lot of listening as a task force. And the end result of that was that we received a unanimous support by the membership of the three chambers to pursue the merger and carry on. I think you already know that I strongly believe in strategic planning. I facilitated these plans 2 years in a row for the District of Sechelt Chamber and more recently the Scredo strategic plan. This is straight out of the strategic plan for the Sechelt District. It's strategic direction that guided our chamber in Sechelt during the merger discussions, and it had everything to do about collaboration, working together, representing the coast. We put together a new Sunshine Coast Chamber strategic plan for the interim period. Now, this plan is not as visionary as one might expect. It's very focused on governance, getting the back of the house in good order, getting the administration policies in place, and making sure that we create a very strong chamber. We're looking forward to an AGM that's going to be in May of this year, at which point a new board is going to be elected, duly elected, as opposed to self-appointed like we are now. And that new board is going to undertake to do a strategic plan at that time. So this is the action list that we've put together. It's just scrolling by, but we're really getting things done to implement that interim strategic plan. We're quietly launching a Founders Partners program. We're going to utilize the space at Trail Bay Mall to publicize the founding members. We are also going to use a number of other ways to do that. We are celebrating the creation of the Sunshine Coast Chamber of Commerce, and we think that many people in the community, businesses, are going to want to attach their name to this new organization as founding partners. So if you're interested personally, or you know, as your own business, or you know somebody who might be interested, please contact me, and we'll make sure that if one of the amounts that are listed there is not appropriate, you want to contribute more, let's talk. Let's make sure that we get together. In closing, I'd like to do a couple of things. One is to invite you to appoint a community liaison. For many years, the Sechelt Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Gibsons Chamber of Commerce, have had a member of council attending the monthly meeting, and this is a great opportunity for an ongoing relationship to make sure that there's communications. The liaison person is an ex officio member, but it's a great way to make sure that we stay aligned, that there's an opportunity to bounce ideas and to talk to each other, and for you to hear regularly from the business community. The second thing I'd like to do is to thank the many volunteers who have helped us. Arthur Cullinan from Carter Ellis Law, Spencer Keys from Charthouse Lawyers, Justin Wright, certified professional accountant, and Janice Iverson, the facilitator, Will Hirschop from the Sunshine Coast Credit Union, and then my fellow board members, David Blakelock, Doug Martinson, Ron Badley, and Mickey McCartney, who just joined us. So that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take your questions. That was 10 minutes, right?
Wow. Early even, I think. Thank you. That's awesome. Directors, could you stop the screen share, please, so I can see all these guys?
How do I do that? Stop. Yeah. Please. I'll stop sharing right there.
Okay. We have Director Stamford, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just a statement and thank you to the presenters. I've been a representative for the regional district on the Gibson's Chamber of Commerce and really enjoyed the interaction and information that we've worked on together. I appreciate that also the work that's gone into coordinating this transition. It's being done very professionally, and I look forward to working with the larger group and the efficiencies of representing regionally. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question? I will take an opportunity to ask the question. You were mentioning you would like a community liaison. That would be from the board of directors here, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
so, yeah, just like Kate helped us at the Gibson's Chamber to, just like Kate provided a contribution to the Gibson's Chamber by being there and giving us a sense of what's on the table right now at the let's say SCRD level. So it was just a sharing of information was the value that it provided. And Donna was there before Kate was.
Yes, thank you. Director McMahon?
Yeah, it's just a process question. So I'm guessing that you folks will send a letter to each of the local governments asking for an appointee to the board. That would be the formal way forward, and then we could action it. Thanks.
Thank you, Director McMahon. Yes.
I mean, local governments have our appointee is carrying over, and we've let the Chamber of Commerce know that through staff. So I mean, we all approach these things differently as local governments. So I mean, that's how we're doing it, and I don't know how District of Sechelt is doing it, but
Last night, the District of Sechelt voted, and they decided to have,
they're-
and they
they're
even have
covered
it.
too,
They
so-
put a delegate forward already, and
Yeah.
that person's been agreed to the job, so.
good.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Director McMahon, follow up, please.
Yeah, I just wanted, because we don't usually make motions right after delegations, but I wanted to make sure that it got into the machinery somewhere, because sometimes these appointments do not get updated. Thanks.
Director Inkster, please.
Yeah, it sounds like two directors at this table have previously done that representing the regional district, so they may be, good candidates. But, you know, you don't necessarily, as you mentioned, have to have somebody from rural areas. They're representing the regional district at that table, so just to let you know, you don't necessarily, but we have people from our own table, but it's not Alton or I.
Thank you. I do believe I heard that we would be welcoming a letter from you, formal letter requesting, and then we
Sure,
would
we'll
deal
follow
with
up
that
with a letter.
at that time. I think that's the best. It gives us all a chance to say, hey, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's the issue rather than, hey, who will do it? Yes, Director Inkster, please. Your hands. Oh, no? Okay, Director Bax.
Yeah, thank you for this initiative. I think it's a great step forward in creating a cohesive Sunshine Coast. And I was wondering, I'm looking forward to seeing representatives from the Chamber of Commerce at some of the other meetings that I attend. That would you be liaising with our SCREDO, Sunshine Coast Regional District, and what other organizations can you share that you will be having meetings with? Any idea? I just want to know the depth and the spread of your influence, how you go about your business.
Okay, I'll let you guys have a go at that one.
Yeah, through the chair, we certainly believe in cross-pollination of thoughts. I'm a board director on SCREDO board. We are going to be in contact, like the Seashell Chamber of Commerce has been working in close contact with the SDBA, the Seashell Downtown Business Association, Tourism Sunshine Coast. So we're going to be reaching out to all these organizations. Actually, in our one of the items on the agenda is our interim strategic plan, and it does address the need for collaboration with various organizations that are helping the business community to advance its goals and objectives. So SCRD is certainly part of that. Yeah.
Just to add on to that, the way this whole initiative got going was from a letter from Community Futures to the chambers saying, hey, how come you guys aren't merging yet? And we've heard it for years. And so at the beginning, when we first started up the task force, we had actually Colin from SCREDO and Morgan from Community Futures to be on the same kind of Zoom call as us, just to help share ideas about what's possible. And, then when we got into the nuts and bolts of trying to really do it, we gave them a break from, being on but, yeah, we definitely have a relationship there already.
I have another question. We just recently granted funds to some of the chambers. Are we getting those funds back now?
Yeah, good question. So, we haven't worked out the details, but let's say, for instance, I know that Gibson's Chamber gets $9,000 for the upkeep and maintenance of that park at the top of the bypass, the Visitor Information Park. And definitely, in terms of the role of the maintenance, the new chamber is still planning to treat that as a desirable property.
So more to come on that then, as
I
you work
guess
through
so.
it. Yes.
Yeah, the new Sunshine Coast Chamber of Commerce is taking on all the liabilities and the revenues from the legacy chambers. So we're going to be honoring the agreement with the SCRD. And there's been discussions whether Tourism Sunshine Coast might be the best organization to look after that. And we're definitely going to be working with your staff if there is going to be a transition to a Tourism Sunshine Coast.
Yes, of course, that actually was my question. I'm from Pender, and I know who looks after the tourist
That's right.
booth up there, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, directors, any? No. Okay, well, thanks very much for your presentation. It was very interesting, and we're kind of looking forward to how this rolls out. It's going to be cheaper for us, right? Oh,
Well,
Oh,
with
maybe better
respect,
than, eh?
we're not here to ask for money.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks very much.
Directors, can I have a motion to receive the delegation materials? Yes, Director Bax, seconded by somebody. Who seconded that? Director Toth. All those in favor? We got the materials. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We're moving on to reports now. It's Committee of the Whole Recommendations number 1 to 9 of January 25th, 2024. We haven't done that yet, did we? No. So that's Annex C, pages 18 to 21. So, directors, is there any that you'd like to pull on that one? No, I don't see anything. So, we will adopt the recommendation as a whole. Do I see a motion? Yes. Director Toss, seconded by Director Inkster. Any further discussions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? No opposed? That's done. Okay, we're now on to number 5, which is the Finance Committee Round 2 Budget Recommendations of February 5th, 2024. Director Toth?
Thank you, Chair. I would like to pull recommendations 9 and 12 for separate consideration.
Okay, I got that note. Anybody else like to pull any? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion to adopt the remaining recommendations. Director Toth, seconded by, someone give me a second. Director McMahon, thank you. Any further discussions? No? All those in favor? That's passed. Let's see. I think we just discussed those recommendations now, eh? We could do it later, but we might as well just do it now. Let's do it now. So the first one is Director Toth, and let me get to number 9 here so that oh, I know, I need to get to a different,
Chair.
yeah. Okay, go ahead, Director
Thank you,
Toth.
Chair. Looking at recommendation 9, this was one that we discussed twice during the budget, and we weren't able to come to a sort of resolution on Tuesday afternoon. And this is now come forward. We talked about possibly changing the funding source. It's currently set to be $520,000 funded from taxation. I would like to move that it's $520,000 funded from the Growing Communities Fund.
Okay, so we've got that motion made and that motion seconded. Now we'll have a little discussion. Director McMahon, please.
Just wanting to check that we can fund all that 520 from the Growing Communities Fund.
Staff, CFO, would you like to give that a go?
Thank you, Chair. So staff did a little bit of an investigation on what eligible costs for growing community funds, and solid waste or solid waste management infrastructure is eligible, including feasibility leading up to the actual construction of the item. So this would qualify.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question? Director? Yeah, just hang on a sec. I was wondering, Director McMahon, I think, has a follow-up. Oh, okay, Director Baxton.
So it states this 520,000 with 20,000 being the wage allocation. Now, that 20,000, will that have to come from taxation, or can that also be from the growth fund?
Yes, CFO?
The staffing of this the staffing in this particular case would be eligible, because it says in order to support the item, because otherwise we would likely, if we can demonstrate that we would likely have to contract this resource out, then I think it would qualify. We'd check with the province though, but I'm just going to put it 100% in there.
I think the general rule is if the staff are working on a capital project, they charge their time to that capital project. I think that's the general accounting practice. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Whoops. Director McMahon, please.
Should we pass this motion, how much will we have left of Growing Communities Fund for future spending?
CFO, do you have that in hand?
I don't have the exact number because we have been investing the funds that we received back in March, so it actually earned some interest. That was included in the report for round 2 in the Langdale well. So I think we have a little over $2.3 million sitting in the fund right now. We committed 2 projects at round 2. One was for the Sunshine Coast Arena well project for $63,000, as well as for the contact water pond. There was $65,000 to be funded from taxation, so that was also funded. So it would leave us somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.7 to 1.8, and again, we'll continue to earn interest on that.
Thank you. That sounds like a healthy amount. Director McMahon, please.
I'm just, not that I'm against spending it on solid waste. I'm just wondering whether we would be more strategic to wait until next year when we've got a whole lot of projects coming at us, not just solid waste, but water as well. We deferred Langdale well for a year, and we are waiting on the results of the test well drilling in Seashell. So while this is a perfectly legitimate use of the funds, I am sort of thinking that we might be better to do actually what was suggested before, which was to reduce borrowing when we come to having to fund major projects that we know are coming at us within the next year to 2 years.
Thank you. It sounds like you're speaking against the motion. Director Bax, please.
Yeah, so the idea is that we're going to move forward with this project and we're going to extend the life of our landfill by a couple of years at a critical time. It's absolutely critical that we move forward with this project as soon as possible. The clock is ticking on that landfill, and we need to do whatever we can in order to extend its life because we don't have a very good backup plan right now. And so I want to see that this money goes to that. Absolutely, today.
Thank you. Director Inkster?
Yeah, we're spending some now. We have a strong majority, 4/5 left for later. So there's nothing wrong with looking at spending the money later, whether we spend it now or later, 6s and 9s. I'm supporting the motion.
Thank you. I thought I saw another hand.
Director McMahon has her hand back.
Yes. Director McMahon, please.
And just to be clear, the project will go forward regardless of how we fund it. We have agreed to fund it, and so it's going to happen. I'm just wondering how we get the most bang for the buck that we got from the provincial government. Thanks.
Thank you for that clarification. I don't see any more hands up, so I think we'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? Director McMahon, would you like that recorded? Yes. Good. Thank you, everybody. So Director Toth, you have number 12 now.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have anything specific. I was opposed to it at committee. I wanted to pull it to vote against it again at board. That's my only reason for pulling it.
You don't have a motion or anything? Oh, yeah. Director Bax, please.
My question is that, is this particular FTE tied to this, the project that we just funded through the growth fund? Are they tied together, these two items?
GM, could you answer that one for us?
Yeah, thank you for the question. This is one of the staff capacity required for this project is part of the capital projects team. And there's a report coming forward following board adoption of the budget on our capacity within the team based on the approved positions to move ahead with projects or not. So this will be considered as part of that work plan review for the division.
Thank you. How the heck do we handle something when there's no motion or anything? We just move
Somebody
on?
can make the motion to
Yeah. But
move forward to adopt it.
so, Director McMahon, would you like to make a motion to adopt that?
Yes, I
Or something
would.
different?
Like to move the adoption of recommendation number 12.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Yes, Director Bax. Any further discussion? Director Stamford, you have your,
Go outside to have your conversation.
Director, oh, I see a hand up on mine, I don't know why. Okay. I think there was some mention of talking through the chair just there. Thank you. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Conversation over here was to confirm opposition. Thank you.
There's 3 that are opposed.
Motion's carried.
Motion is carried. I have a request to take a 2-minute break, so let's take a 2-minute, let's take a 5-minute break. We can have a coffee, I guess. Welcome back to the regular board meeting of February 8th, 2024. We're now moving on to item 6, which is Water Systems Modeling Engineering Service Contract Amendments. Annex D, pages 22 to 24. GM, who will be introducing this to us?
I will.
Ah, well, please, go ahead.
Good morning. Good afternoon. The purpose of this report is to request a contract amendment to the contract that's supporting the water modeling project that we're currently undertaking, including the fire flow analysis. We identified several items that we would like to have added to the contract to improve the data that we're going to present in 2 weeks at committee. The budget is already in place. It's within the current budget, so it's primarily a contract amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have comments? Yes, Director Bax, please.
I'm just going to keep things moving and put forward the recommendations on page 22.
I see a seconder, Director Toth. Any discussions? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes. Thank you. We now will go forward to item 7, which is the GACC chiller replacement pre-order award report, Manager Facilities Services. Where the heck do we find that thing? Oh, that's in the amended.
Page 43 of the document, but the PDF file.
24A, 22, 23.
I think GM Kenyon can speak to it.
Yes, GM Gagnon. I think I've caught up here.
Thank you, Chair. So I don't really have an introduction to the report. It's fairly straightforward, but if there are questions, both Manager Van Velzen and I are here to answer those. Thank you.
Do we have any? Yes, Director Bax.
Actually, the hand's residual, but I was going to just point out the financial implications. It says there are no financial implications. And so I would like to put forward the motion as it appears on page 24A of our amended agenda.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Yes, I see a seconder. Any discussion? No? Call the vote. All those in favor? That passes. Oh, I know. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Thanks. And I gotta flip the page here. I don't have another page. Nah, here we go.
Sure do.
I've been rescued. It's item number 8, request for exemption from SCRD noise control bylaw number 597, Annex E, pages 25 to 29. So who's introducing that for us? Yes, Corporate Officer.
Thank you, Chair. This is a relatively routine request for an exemption from the noise bylaw, and the requester has provided some assurance of notification, as well as an example of their notification of filming.
Thank you. Director Bax.
Yeah, as this is going to be taking place in my area, I read this report and this letter very closely, and I'm very pleased with the respectful nature of this ask, and I'm definitely in favor of this particular. I guess it's a variance that they're asking for, and it reminds me a little bit about the Tragically Hip song, Blowing High Dough.
Okay. Director McMahon, please.
Yeah, just a small question. I mean, obviously, this is routine and appropriate, but, and we've only had one other noise exemption requests that I can recollect. Oh, two. I can think of two in the last 5 years. So I can't remember. Does the bylaw specify when the applicant is supposed to notify neighbors how close those neighbors are?
Thank you for the question. No, the bylaw does not set that out. The bylaw sets out quiet hours, and so that would be some instruction that might come from the regional district if the board wishes to give them any special instructions. Generally, the notification, it could be anything from distributing flyers to even publishing something in the Coast Reporter newspaper, depending on the level of noise that we would expect and the activity that they're undertaking.
And just, I assume that it's a film production and they do this all the time. So I assume they put up signage because people drive past Camp Bing all the time. And if they see, lights on in the middle of the night and noise, they may wonder what's going on. But this seems perfectly, was there a motion on the floor? Oh, well, I'm happy to make the motion as per the recommendations on page 25.
Yes, indeed. We have a motion on the floor that has been seconded. Motion made by Director McMahon and seconded by Director Inkster. Thank you. Do we have any further discussion? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Director Bax, were you opposed?
No, I just left my arm up longer because I am for it all the more.
Okay, thank you. Cool. It is a long day. So we're into communications. We have a letter from Vanessa Craig, Chair of the Regional District of Nanaimo, Annex F, pages 30 to 31. Director McMahon, please.
Yes, we are being asked for a letter of support on the question of legislative reform for regional districts. Many of us have attended the recent workshops at AVICC and UBCM on this topic. It's very much needed. We struggle under outdated and cumbersome legislation. So I would like to move that the board send a letter of support as requested by the chair of RDN.
Thank you. Yes, I see a seconder, Director Gabius. Any further discussions? No, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And I'll remember to ask if there's any opposed. Seeing none, that passes. Thank you. Oh, yeah? Now, I'm trying to figure out if I have the right agenda. This one's correct? Okay. So, we have no notice of motion. We have no bylaws, but this time we have director's reports. So I would like to start with Director White. Oh. Okay, Director Toth has volunteered to go first.
Thank you, Chair. Hopefully by going first, I can set the tone. I attended LGLA last week. It was fantastic. There were some great sessions. I haven't had a chance to sort of type up my notes to share with everybody on my thoughts, but almost everybody at this table was there last week, so, And for the moment, I think that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Bax.
Thank you. Yeah, I attended LGLA and I lost a bet with myself that somebody would get stuck in the elevator. But I enjoyed myself immensely. I thought it was one of the most productive weeks that we've had in one of these events. And I look forward to telling my constituents through my newsletter a bit about some of the things that I learned about in that week. There was a lot of great initiatives that were brought forward by the province. And besides that, it was a long week.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Director McMahon.
Thank you. I, too, was at that conference and at the electoral area conference that preceded it with all my colleagues here at the board. And it really was, because I've been to quite a few LGLAs, and yeah, I really enjoyed this. There was no session that I sat through feeling like I needed to chew my leg off to get out of the leg hold trap. So on January 26th, I was going to leave this to Director White, but since he's not here, we had a meeting with Kevin Richter, the Associate Deputy Minister of Modi, about issues on Highway 101, specifically the segment of 101 between School Road and Lower Road, which is increasingly troublesome, plus some diversions into Reed Road since it is the diversion. And Mayor White sent a follow-up letter to that meeting, so I think that it will be a good idea to keep an eye on that and follow up on the follow-up to see if anything happens. The electoral area directors do have a meeting with Modi coming up, so if you remind me, I will share that letter in advance so that we know what was discussed at the meeting. The only other item I wanted to mention was January 27th. Several of us were at the Labor Council event at Persephone, where representatives of various local unions shared their challenges. And it was interesting. That included BC Ferries, the hospital, long-term care, and schools, but the situation is the same. There's a chronic lack of staffing, and people are getting burned out because they're trying to fill the gaps by working long hours and extra shifts, and it is not sustainable in the long term. So, thank you.
Thank you for bringing us current on that. Much appreciated. Director Inkster, please.
Thank you. I look forward to the notes from LGLA because I was very busy here. So I don't have a lot to report, although I would say to Director Baxt, if he bets himself to get stuck in the elevator, he should be the one to get stuck in the elevator. That's how he wins his own bet. It has certainly made our meeting shorter. Thanks.
Thank you. Director Stamford, please.
Thank you, Chair. I also spent last week in Richmond at the various conferences with LGLA and the Electoral Area Directors Conference. I think one of the highlights that just emphasized the importance of our focus on environmental crises was a session with the fire chief for West Kelowna, and the experience that sort of hour by hour experience of what it was like to live through that conflagration last summer. One of the other thing that I've been working on is the rural area economic development initiative project for Gambier. I've been working with the UBC planning students on an engagement that's coming up in the next couple of weeks with the local community. So that's been very informative. And also I did also attend the labor meeting on at Persephone, which was very interesting. And again, expressing those challenges that are so hard for individual governments to address, as they're very complex. Thank you.
Sorry, I missed exactly who's doing that economic development thing for you?
There was a grant that the Gambier Island Community Association received to support engagement on rural economic development. I don't have the title, it's called REDIP, for the Gambier community. And it happens to work very step in step with our official community plan process. But yes, it's for local economic initiatives.
That's awesome. It's awesome that they're doing that local economic development plan. Director Gabius, please.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing groundbreaking here. Everything's been said already. But I did also go to the Labor Council meet and greet. It was really interesting. I always appreciate those. There are voices that there are issues that we don't necessarily look at here at the board table, but it's really nice to hear from the community and from the workers, and always appreciate it. Miyuki did a great job, so thank you to them. And attended the UBCM EA conference and the LGLA Leadership Forum, and I will also be debriefing and try to get all my thoughts in order and put that in my next newsletter. So thank you.
Thank you. I guess it's my turn. I did attend the electoral area conference and the LGLA Leadership Forum, and I've been to quite a few. And I must say this was, in my opinion, the best one I have attended. It was actually very excellent, and I went there thinking I was going to support the team, and in fact, instead I learned a whole lot as well as enjoying the team. So it was very much appreciated. And I'd just like to formally thank my alternate, Christine, for covering for me at the last finance meeting. I'm thinking everybody would rather have her than me, but tough. So thanks a lot, everybody. And we have no new business, but we do have an in-camera that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with Section 91A of the Community Charter. Can I have? Yes, Director Bax, Director Inkster. All those in favor? Thank you. Now, let's see if... yeah, I was just going to check and see who we had here. Really? What? No questions? Thank you very much for attending. That was very nice. Yes, thank you. And do we have anybody in the gallery? Yes, we do. Anybody in the gallery would like to ask the question? Just put up your hand, please. Don't see any hands. Okay. So then I would ask that you leave in case you'd like to come back, so we don't have to evict. Welcome back to the regular scheduled board meeting of February 8th, 2024. I would accept a recommendation to adjourn. A motion to adjourn. Yeah, I've got, you recommend a motion, okay, good. Director Inkster has made the motion, and it's been seconded by Director Toth. All those in favor? That's passed. We are now adjourned. Thank you.